Hi, good afternoon, folks. How you doing? My name's Johnny. I'm a solo podcaster, and today's topic I will be talking about reverse racism and reverse racism in America. Where do I begin? All right, so I'm gonna start off with the definition of reverse racism and racism. So the definition of racism is the belief that one's race is superior than another's. And the definition of reverse racism is affirmative action, very color conscious, anti-white, some kind of movement going on. Uh, so I wanna touch up on that and my brushes with it. First off, I'm gonna say here, in the United States of America, Watsonville, California, uh, on a nationwide scale level, racism, reverse racism, it's something that isn't gonna go away. Never has, never will. It will always be prevalent in America. If you ask me, is it a big problem or a big issue here? No. I think the main problem is we're being taxed heavily. That's the real problem. But the media is obviously broadcasting, stuff on racism and stuff like that. Anyways, so reverse racism, does it exist? Yes. I come from me being uh, an American-born Hispanic, born and raised here in the United States, California to be exact. I come from a small community where the population is predominantly Mexican nationals and their children, such as myself, born of a Mexican descent. So so that's the population right there. There are a handful of white folks, very few. Maybe you can count all the white folks in this community like on both hands and both feet. Seriously. Um, I've been I'm a truck driver, so I've been to other states, other communities, other towns. So I've been in a few different ones. I'll touch up on that later. But back to the issue at hand. So in my community, growing up in a Hispanic only basically community, I feel that there's a lot of reverse racism when they see outsiders or to the very few white folks that are here. Uh, as a Mexican, Hispanic, American born here, I can say I think it's safe to say that my nationality, Mexican, brown folk, whatever, it's safe to say that we are probably the most racist, judgmental, stereotypical nationality in America as of right now that I could speak of as a witness. Uh, this is not an attack on us Mexican folks or anything like that. This is just me being honest, this is just me being honest to the nation that I'm doing this because with everything going on with the Trump election and all that stuff, there's a lot of bickering and crying and finger pointing, and I just kind of want to bring it to our attention that for all these years before Trump, like we have in fact been the prejudiced, the racist ones here in America, and this is America, the land of the free. So I'm here to just say, that I've witnessed it. I've been a victim of reverse racism and racism. And, it starts off like, little things, a lot of it's subconscious. I believe that we are all subconsciously racist or prejudiced. And some of us are blatant racist and prejudiced. We're a country with 50 plus different nationalities. Obviously, that's gonna happen. If you can't see that, then just focus on the fact that 50 different people from 50 different nationalities came to one continent and are trying to coexist. We all have different countries of origin and beliefs and religious beliefs and just stuff like that, traditions. And who are we to judge the next ones? I'm not gonna sit here and judge 49 other nationalities and their traditions and stuff like that. So why are us brown folks doing it? and we know we do it. Um, Not all, but the majority. The majority of the ones in my community, it's safe to say that they are reverse racists. Uh, I'm gonna give you an example of a reverse racist. Some of my experiences in life where I've experienced racism came from another brown person. You get what I'm saying? Uh, for example, 5 years old, I'm playing, with his neighbors. They're Mexican folks, good, nice folks. I believe that they were probably subconsciously racist. The mother didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time, but now that I'm older, I could put a label on her actions. Uh, I would play with her son. One time I went over there, and I'm in their house, and the mom stops to me, and I think she asked me like if my mom or my parents knew that I was in her house. And I responded, I believe in English. I understood it, but I just never really spoke it, all that well. So, anyways, I answer her in English, and she replies, with this face like, "Hey, well, she asked me. I remember she asked me specifically, do I speak Spanish?" And I made the movement like, kind of, and she made a face, and she told me that she started asking me stuff like, why didn't my parents speak to me in Spanish? Why don't I know it? What part of Mexico are they from? The whole 21 questions. If you're from my community, you know the 21 questions that I'm talking about. When a Mexican national questions you on your accent, your origin, your work ethic, all that. So anyways, so she's asking me why that, and as a 5-year-old, I don't know what to say, So, I'm just thinking back on that situation, and I realized, like, man, that lady she was kind of like, she had this prejudice stereotype, that I need to know Spanish, like it's a must, the fact that I'm brown and I look really Mexican, and especially as a kid, I was like pretty dark. I feel that, she was kind of displaying. That was my first brush with subconscious racism. As I got older too, I just watching the community, just watching our folks, watching them wear their Hecho en Mexico. Hecho en Mexico means born in Mexico. Really proudly, they're really proud of it, and that's fine. We all have the right. Every nationality, everybody has the right to be proud of their country of origin. Here in America, so. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So they wear these the Hecho en Mexico, they go as far as the town of where they're from in Mexico, or their pueblo, whatever you want to call it. They flaunt it pretty proudly, and it's been going on for years, since the 90s. No one ever thought nothing of it, including myself. But now that with the Trump thing going on, and white folks are kind of like starting to be proud again to be Americans, and they're kind of flaunting it. I see that they're doing that, and it's caused a lot of conflict in my community. People see a white guy with an American flag. People think racist or prejudice, and people get offended. And I've been in a car with my friends and stuff, and they get offended when we see a white guy driving by with the American flag. In my head, I'm like, hey, he's American, bro. Let her. We do it all the time. We've been doing it for years. What's the problem? Well, the problem is, that we don't see our own actions, so that's why I'm making this video. So basically, those are a couple of different examples, and I have another one too. It has to do with boxing. So like for example, subconscious racism. Speaking on that, so boxing, in our community where we grew up in Watsonville. When Mayweather fights Oscar de la Hoya, brown folks, who are you going for? Answer that truthfully, and why. So I say that because, growing up in a household, in my household, it was always you had to go for the Mexican dude. Why? Because we're Mexican. Never mind the fact that Mayweather's undefeated and he's a good athlete and stuff like that. It was always based on, hey, he's Mexican and we need to vote for him, or we need to root for him because we are Mexican ourselves. To me, that's subconscious racism or racist beliefs. Now that I'm older, obviously, I think for myself, and I root for Mayweather. Or he's retired now, but I started rooting for him. Won a lot of money as well. People have questioned me, when I've outspoken why I'm going for Mayweather, and obviously he's a better athlete and he's undefeated, so I'm going based off of statistics. And I get this look, and I've been questioned too, like why are you voting? Why are you going for Mayweather, bro? He's not Mexican and this and that. And I'm looking back at that now, and I don't think that these people are like blatant. My friends are like blatant, or family members of mine. I don't think they're blatant racist, but I believe that's I think that they're subconsciously racist. Like there's some belief that being Mexican is like the greatest thing in the world. And hey, it's all right, man. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But so they have that belief. Their subconscious like belief. As far as that, so stuff like that. So racism, and believe me, there's stereotypes too that us American-born Hispanics have against Mexican nationals. We always make fun of the Oaxacas. We make fun of them adamantly, and let's be honest with ourselves, brown folks. Like, we are constantly bagging them, like, no joke. Like the Oaxacans, like the indigenous, the little short ones. Not all of them are short, by the way. We are constantly bagging on them. It goes as far as Jalisco. They're the people from there, Jalisco, Mexico. They think that they're the dominant. They're very proud of it. You got Michoacan, the DF, stuff like that. They got that. They're really prideful, really. That that you go into a workplace and there's people predominantly from Michoacan, and you happen to be there from there, or your family, they're gonna treat you really good. And if you're not, they'll treat you like a regular employee or less. Especially. So so I'm just saying, like, I feel bad for white folks in California, in my community. You people, like, you guys don't have it's almost like you guys don't have the right to be proud to be American. And I'm here to tell you that you guys do have that right. We all have rights. We all have proud to be. This is a free country, basically, is what I'm saying. So I'm saying this because and this is not an attack. I'm not going against my people. I say quotation marks because, to me, my people are, generally speaking, if I'm going to call you my people, it's not going to be based on race or skin color. It's going to be based on, like, our beliefs and your attitude. So, like, my beliefs are, you need to work hard, earn a living, raise your family, provide, basically. And, and not only that, on top of that, you got to be respectful of people, mind your own business, look straight, don't worry about anybody else. In a positive way, I'm saying this. If you're not like that, like my folks, brown folks, the Mexican nationals, they tend to be really nosy and judgmental, and they really care about. They seem to really take notice in other people, and that's why I say, some not all of them are like that, but just because you're brown, it don't mean you're my people. Like, I refuse to be identified or to label myself based on my skin color or categorize myself. I am more than just my skin color. We all are. If you're black, just because there's another group of black guys, near you, it don't mean that they're gonna be your friends or you're gonna vibe. Same with white folks, same with brown folks. Skin color says nothing about anybody. But in my community, not everybody thinks like that. So, like, this is not an attack towards, us Hispanic folks. This is just me kind of, like, facing the facts on live TV and hoping that you guys also will face the facts and realize that our belief system is kind of tore up, in the name of racism. Like, we are, like, pretty high up there. Judgmentalness, pretty high up there. Stereotypical brown folks, I think we're, like, at the top of any race when it comes to stereotyping other races. You know, so like, but basically what I'm saying is, you know, we're all guilty of racism. We're all subconsciously racist. You know, before I end this video, I want to share an experience of mine. You know, as a truck driver, you know, I'm a commercial driver. I drive out of state a lot. I drive to Washington, Oregon. I've driven to Arizona. Yeah, so those are the states that I've driven to: Oregon, Washington, Arizona. You know, my experience. You know, I've had to stop in certain communities or certain towns and states where, you know, I went to Brownsville, Oregon, and I went to Brownsville, Oregon. I believe that's the name of the town, Brownsville, Oregon. And you know, there was nothing. It was really an eye opener. You know, I'm outside of my community where it's predominantly Mexican, and I go to that community where there's only white people. You know, there wasn't a single black or or a Hispanic that I seen. You know, and I was there for a couple hours driving around. I don't know how big that city is or town, but I go there. Me and my co-driver, we're both Hispanic, American-born Mexicans. We go into to a store, and our intentions are to use the bathroom, but out of respect, like we were also gonna buy something. You know, we were gonna buy something to drink and use the bathroom. We don't want to just go in there and use the bathroom. You know, so we go in there. As I'm walking in there, my intentions were to probably buy something and then use the bathroom after. But then I seen that there was a white dude. He had a key and it had a stick on it, and the stick said bathroom key, and he was giving it back to the cashier. And everybody in this store was white. So I go in there with my brown self, and I go in there. I asked the lady, hey, is there a restroom I can use? Obviously, I seen the key and all that, and she had it in her hand, and she says, oh, it's for she said it's for employees only. And then you know, so I see the white guy walk out, and I was like, was that guy an employee? And then you know, she right away. He was obviously a customer. I was like, well, he could have been an employee, but I said, was that guy an employee? And her response was, we have the right to refuse service to anybody at will or whatever, something of that sort. And they did have that little sticker, I guess, that discretion. It did say that they had the right to refuse service. So her being white and everybody in the deli being white, everybody was there, you know. I was like, huh. So, you know, I get mad, you know. Of course, I felt, well, the thing the thing that was me, it's kind of disrespectful, you know. But you know, she probably was a racist, and you know, I remember I felt like, oh shit, you know, that was kind of like my first time ever being experienced racism from another race. I'm so used to being discriminated against by my own race that I was in shock, you know. But of course, I had a little fit, you know, like I had something in my hand and I threw it like to the ground. I called her a pilgrim. I called everybody in there a pilgrim. I called the ladies in the deli a pilgrim, the cashier a pilgrim. I told them, you know, whatever. I walked out. I was still cussing. They could probably still hear me walking to my truck. I had to use the restroom, so whatever. They didn't let me. I suspected it was based on my race or whatever. It was some kind of, you know, racial belief behind that action. But if you get what I'm saying, it's the actual action that offended me, that she didn't let me use the restroom. It's not the actual belief. You know, I can care less if she believes that her race is superior or mine is superior than hers. I can care less about that. The thing is, she made it inconvenient for me. So, you know, you're in a rig and now you gotta try to find somewhere to park and use the restroom and stuff. It's kind of a hassle. So that's why I had to fit. And yeah, I got a little racist myself on her. I called her a pilgrim. That's a derogatory term to white folks. But whatever, I said it, and it probably wasn't right. And I'm working on that myself. Also, when since I'm coming out and being completely honest live, you know, I get road rage, and depending on your race, probably, yeah, I'll probably attack that. And I've been attacked on my race too during someone else's road rage. It's disrespectful. It shouldn't be done. But as Americans, we're the strongest country on planet Earth. I think that it's time for us to not be so sensitive or color conscious about anything. I feel that it's time to man up and just accept it, man. Not everybody's gonna get along. Not everybody's the same race. Everybody has different thoughts on different traditions and beliefs. If we could all just accept that and just mind our own business and never mind this race or that race or never mind, and we could just go about our business. One thing I'm going to say too is that, the media has everybody all hyped up and has us brown folks pointing fingers and all that. I just want to say to all you brown folks out there, you see immigration on the news and people getting hauled off, and you see pictures of dead, people trying to cross the border. You see total chaos on the internet. Take a second when you see that, breathe, walk outside, and look to your left, and then look to your right, and see that the media is painting this annoying picture, the total chaos in America, California especially. But when you look outside your house, there's nothing, man. I see the paletero man relaxing under a tree, having himself an ice cream. I see our fellow brown little folks all excited buying ice cream. And this stuff of people getting snatched out of their homes, it ain't real, dude. It's all fake, and it's supposed to get you riled up. For what reason, I don't know, but I think that's what it's supposed to do. Look to your left, look to your right when you go outside and drive around, and you're gonna see that the news is painting this picture that ain't even a fact. That's not even going on. And if it is, very unnoticeable, because when I walk outside of my house in California, I don't see ICE vans in any corner of my community. I don't see Hispanics running in fear and trying to cover themselves and all that. No, everybody's going about their life normally. So for you guys out there protesting, having a fit, I suggest you guys do the same. All right. So if you liked what you heard, go ahead and like and subscribe. If you didn't, still go ahead and like and subscribe. Remember to be honest with yourselves, brown folks. Ask yourselves how many times have we made fun of, Oaxacos and stuff like that, and how many times have we made fun of a Hispanic kid that couldn't speak Spanish, calling him whitewashed. Remember, that's all reverse racism, and we're all guilty of it. Remember that there is such thing as subconscious racism. With that being said, folks, think about it. Look at ourselves. Let's not add to the problem. I hope you liked this content. My next video will probably be about religion or immigration. Probably immigration. Like and subscribe if you want to check that out. I'll be posting that up sometime next week for sure. Thank you. Have a good one.